Welcome back, folks. Twitch had a little problem there. It seemed to forget that I was logged in just a few minutes ago. But if you're just joining us, this is CMOda. Not real happy with that thing on Twitch for just right now. But yeah, we are currently on Thor's server right here. Said, look for pizza by the central Cafra in Prontera. So this is our weekly show where kind of answer questions from the RO community, talk about what's going to be going on in the game. Probably won't sit here for the time being. Yeah, new layout. I'll have to mess around with things. Some of this stuff intrudes more into the chat than I kind of would want. But yeah, this week we've got 14.3 stuff. We're going to be introducing the Wave Mode Sky Dungeon. Camptor is still testing that out. It may be going up. It should be going up on Saturday this week. Basically, the Wave Mode Dungeon, its monsters follow a certain path, and you have to defeat them before they get to a certain place. It's kind of like a tower defense, except you're the towers, and there are no towers. So you can look forward to seeing that on the server pretty soon, as we're doing testing and localization on the 14.3 stuff, as well as trying to get a test server working for Classic. Currently in the setup, we have the servers for it. We just need to, be able to get it to run so it'll actually pop up as a second server on Classic. So, still working on that. Not on Classic, but so what I'll get started right now is I've got a video of some bot banning. So let's get that queued up and started. So this is some video footage I captured a little bit earlier in the day of just banning some bots on Classic server, getting some maps like the Einbrock Field 6 is usually one that gets reported, Prontera Field 5, as well as some of the other dungeon maps that gets frequently reported for bots. And so next week I'll hit Chaos or Thor and just kind of rotate through the maps. So I hope you guys are having a nice day so far. Got to spend some time and meet some players out in Anime Expo, which was actually quite a bit of fun. It's been a long time since I've actually gone to Anime Expo. So it's nice to go inside, see the cosplay, and see some of the stuff for sale. There was no Ranma 1/2 cosplay, so it's kind of a wash, but man, what can you do? Hey, NW Games Brazil, who says ban bots on Classic, please. That's exactly what I did on this stream. And in fact, basically with all of the accounts that I suspended this week, the IPs are on a list, and so at the end of this stream I'm going to get all the connected accounts and do the mass recall and kick. Inubashiri's also told me that a new version of No Spam is coming very soon, and there's some very fun projects like the in-game reporting system, and numerous kind of like, this will block, annoying chats from appearing. So one of the things you can see here, there were a series of bots that I found that the moment you would unhide as a GM, they'd actually stop, put up a locked chat box, and either sit down or, in the other case, they just DC'd. But when it's a number of accounts that do that at the same time and they're connected to like 10 other accounts that are doing the exact same thing, kind of looks a little suspect, so they are gone. That's right. Crispy Lays in the chat. I actually got to meet you and a few other fans in person. It was very nice to meet folks from RO. The big problem was that the reception was just so terribly bad for T-Mobile, especially inside the convention hall. It was almost impossible to coordinate unless you're in a very specific area that got signal. That was a little unfortunate, but I was able to meet a few people. It does break my heart to see posts up on Facebook of people who they wanted to meet up, but we just couldn't get linked up. So probably what I'll do is a combination of the two, like have a Ragnarok meetup, and then have hide and seek, and then have a more conventional meetup later. But definitely want to have a place for RO fans to meet up. One thing that people did like were CM Jello Shaker made up these awesome RO emote flags. I have them attached to a chopstick here. So I got plenty of those lying about. And so for any occasion, unless you have like light directly at your face, you can have some pretty fun RO emotes. I should sell these. Sell these at a con or something. And everyone's favorite, the sad ghost face. Yeah, NW Games Brazil. Zoe says it's only good if you have OMG. I do have OMG. I would probably redo it so that this stuff is transparent too. I would love to have an RO booth, but getting a booth at Anime Expo is like prohibitively expensive. A booth at one of the other smaller cons is definitely possible. We had a panel at Anime California last year that was actually quite a bit of fun. So let's get on to the questions from the community. These are posted in the Bahuka Tiki Lounge. And those are posted right here. Let's get to the first question, and that is from 313-615-020-121-095-1703, who asks, can we add Thornstaff or Darkness and Staff of Destruction to Eve Natalia? Eve Natalia, I think those we have to kind of consider pretty carefully before we can put them in. We can take a look at it, ask Campator about it. Zoe says, ever thought about getting the RO community to donate for a booth for RO at Anime Expo? I mean, things that we'd even thought about was having a like artist alley, or sponsoring an artist alley, like if we have RO fan artists, and actually just having a booth where we kind of help sponsor them. Anime Expo is not crazy about actual companies having small booths in the artist alley. But if we sponsored like a group of RO artists, except for Bada-chan says she is big enough to have her own booth, and so, we don't want to muscle in on that. But those are things that we are thinking of for the future. I mean, Anime Expo, quite frankly, is something that we should be more involved in. Anime fans, especially people who are big into anime back in like the early 2000s, like that is the Venn diagram of RO fans and anime fans is almost a perfect circle. It's all overlap. So I think that being more involved in the anime community, it's something that we are talking with CM Merida about, because she's more into the current cosplay and anime scene than old men like myself who only watch Tenchi Muyo and Ranma 1/2 and all that. Cadbury Chocolate asks, RTE in Malangdo? I'm not sure about that. Also, fallen characters, when will the missing items be fixed? When is it scheduled? Right now, it's a very manual process of us having to enter in character names and accounts and like where the items are going to go before we can get stuff added. We'll probably do them in batches like we did for the disconnecting accounts, but just please be aware it's a very manual, very time-consuming process. So we're working on it this month, but it will not be a speedy process to get done. Nirvana 21 says, "Where's the 5? Give me the 5." Number 3 is, any news on the Bio-Wisp costume? It doesn't look like we've gotten it yet. It's something that we can request for the future, but it sounds like it went on Jero not long ago, so we may have to wait before we can get it. Also asked a question about BB code. I think I need more information from Nirvana 21 before we can put that in. Basically what Nirvana 21 is talking about is it's a plugin to the forums that will allow you to, when you type the name of an item, or we'll have to see how exactly that's going to work, that it would pop up as a embedded pretty cool widget where it actually will show the description, right-click image of the item. So it's like, hey, I'm selling this, and so the item information would actually pop up. It's a really cool project, but haven't had a lot of experience working with forum code stuff, so need to work a little more closely with this user to make that happen. Also, number 6, how often do headgear proposals get browsed over? I submitted one and curious to know how the selection works. It's pretty much once we get a batch of headgears that we've requested before delivered, then we start putting together requests for new ones. We try to do them in batches of like half a dozen or a dozen at a time. Crispy Lay says, is RO team going to Anime California? I think so. I'm pretty sure that they invited us back like as of last year or so. We'll have to see if we'll have a meeting room again or if we can get a booth or something like that. But yeah, they were actually really welcoming. We had a pretty good time going out Anime California. It was nice to meet fans. of RO and have them come out. And so we'll definitely like to do that again. Three 313-615-020-121-095-1703 asks, are we getting a new box next maintenance? Change the spotlight, please. Yeah. It might be, Capitor's not in today, so it may be difficult to change the spotlight this week. I'll see if we can change it to one that we have done before. But we should be getting a new groove pack this week. We just got new boxes from Caro this week, so we can put together a new one. 139-214-0604-170-018-137 says, any update on whether the pouring fedora hat from the cash shop is account bound or not? It shouldn't be account bound. Usually those things, it should have a account bound box, and then once you open the box you get a tradable, vendable hat. Also, can you provide any word on why Merc scrolls can only be shifted across accounts via the buy shop? That sort of thing is kind of like mostly an oversight. Those should either... I think Capitor is not as crazy about them getting moved around, but I really don't have a problem with it. Pyro Classic says, is it possible to bring Banshees back to Abbey 01? It's possible. If it was on Classic server, those things we can modify pretty easily. Is vending limit increase coming with the 14.3 update? I don't believe so, but we'll have to test it. We'll usually get information on like what the new monsters are, UI updates, but some back-end stuff they don't necessarily tell us about. So unfortunately we kind of find out when the community does on some things, but we can definitely check. You know, every time I'm talking to them, I'm telling them like we need this update. But that's one of those things where it requires an EXE update. And so sometimes we get them bundled with our big new things, and sometimes we don't necessarily. Cadbury Chocolate says, cash burn events also for Thor, please. Zenny inflation is like hell. Yeah, I mean, if not the raffler, there are other events that we probably could. We probably could be looking at for the summer. Zero Tiger says, any updates on removing the EXP penalty from IRO? You know, right now we're trying to get fixes and other things like that before we start requesting new stuff. You know, some of the things that we'd like to get is like, hey, you know, same gender marriage, you know, take a look at the EXP penalty. Can that go away? Can you fix stasis and all these other bugs? So there's a lot of things that we need to get first before we can ask them about a pretty big change that they probably would be resistant to, like removing the EXP penalty. Lazarus asks, question number 1, any updates for Thor bug and fallen recovery? Haven't heard anything about it for a while now. Yeah, there's like 500, maybe 600 PMs in my inbox about it. So going through all of them and getting them all added to a list is going to take some time. Nirvana 21 says, hey Oda, in regards to the AHB debate, Zero Tigers mentioned about a possible prevention that could have been done before implementing the items. You could have consulted them on things that weren't possible and had them fixed before release. Is this doable for future community projects? You know, we're hoping now we're getting better contact. I mean, nothing's perfect, obviously. We still have a long way to go. But the speed of contact with Cairo is a little faster than it used to be. Like as of the time when we submitted those headgears, like it was a really long turnaround to get those hats. It does take a while even still to get those. But having a community group kind of going over like, this is what Cairo said they're not able to do, this is what Cairo would be able to do, is something that I would like to do for future projects. Two, will Thor nerfed items be remodified again? Yes, these will be modified in the future. Generally, it'll be if their effect is going to stay kind of reduced, so it can be introduced on Chaos and Thor, or if it's going to be returned to its original effects. These are things that we're going to be getting more data from Cairo about. So at least, you know, basically the reason why they're put in like this is generally because they don't exist in our item scripting. So we just didn't have that in, so in order to have the items exist, we put them in, but no effects. Girel says, hey Oda, how are you doing? I want to know about MRS Hammer. Will it be leaving Chaos tomorrow? Yes, MRS Hammer will be departing tomorrow. Please put Fallen Angel Wings in the box for July, I beg you. That's up to Campator for this month. Number 4, I have a Fallen character and requested for EWL restoration via support. I was turned down. The response I had was due to the deadline given for PMs for Fallen recovery. That ought to take a look at, because if people have already gotten responses in, it's basically just like waiting on us to actually input that data and get the process moving. Paushin says, Laurel Wreath slotted is still count bound. Can you please unbind? Thank you. Melly says, could you please revert the Bio 3 spawn to normal? It has been doubled for a month now. Makes it extremely laggy when both Bio 4 and 3 have double spawn. Not to mention Bio 3 doesn't need that mob density. That is weird, because I thought that we had reduced the spawn on the Biolabs 3, because people said we don't want it on 3, but we want it on 4. So that's kind of weird that that is still in place. Also, are the loading screen rewards being handed out? Apparently they were supposed to be last week. I apologize for that. It's been pretty much when I've gotten PMs from people, that's when I've been able to sort of get in there and get the rewards out. But slow process, just tons of other stuff I got to do on top of that. But I'm working on it. Kess21 says, why is it at exactly 5:36 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8:36 Manila time, every day Thor server lags for 10 seconds to a minute and then gets a server wipeout? Not a day this fails to happen. It becomes apparent because it's frequent. That's something I have not heard about before. That might be something worthwhile to monitor. I'm curious for other Thor players if you're getting the same issue. If it could be something of our connection, some server undergoing maintenance, on our side, on closer to your side or in the middle somewhere. That's troubling if it's happening every day. Will there be a July box, or the July box is Mid-Year Madness? No, we'll have a group pack coming this week. 3, how often does a fire sale happen? Generally, it'll come around the end of the month. Usually, we'll tie it into some other event, but Beata says, any considerations of raising the reset weight limit to 2,000 instead of 0? Yeah, I believe that we're able to change that for another. I think we changed that on Classic server or on one of our servers. That having it to be 0 is something that is extremely difficult, especially with all the character bound stuff we have now. What do you think about making a costume version of the heart ribbon hairband? Simply suggesting to offer an option to +8 the available ones to get a costume version of it through the Allura NPC. There should never be a standalone costume version of the heart ribbon hairband released into the lucky box. It is rare and should remain so. Something like Allura would be interesting. I know that the headgear would probably work better for a lot of people as a costume. It's something we can consider. Got 106 viewers, so thank you guys very much for watching this goofy show. Some of the community headgears are still not working, like the Harvester hat. And there is the issue of the autumn hairband effects not being permanent. Can you please shed some light on this? Yeah, unfortunately, when we had gotten a lot of the third class-specific headgears, not all of them either worked like they were originally proposed, or some of them don't have their upgrade effects or don't work properly. So I think what we're going to do is, for some of the headgears like the autumn hairband or the autumn hat, for the autumn hairband, it's more likely that we'll request a new version of the hat where we can try doing the trap boosting. It could be like a gold version, or some kind of alternate version of the hat, so that people who bought and are using the hat using its current effects won't be feeling like they're losing out on their investment. But for the ones that don't work at all, I think those should take priority of us making sure that they work. At some point, we were supposed to get the Edgar doll in a lucky box, but that didn't happen. Is the chance still around for getting that sometime in a future lucky box? That should be. I'll have to ask Kemptor if we were able to get the current Caro effects for that hat. Because I believe we have the sprite, but the effects are not the same as what Caro has. Review says, Hail Oda, can the Eden Merit badges be unaccount bound for vending? No, we can't really do that. I think there's too many things that people could exploit if they could move those around more freely. Rawrug says, please create a topic with in-game rules. I clearly understand the don't act like a bad word is the best rule, but there are many details, e.g. Russian RO rules, allow you to heal and buff MVPs, use Numa and safety wall and perform other actions to hinder another player to kill it, and basically that those are more clearly laid out over there. And Russian RO is dying. Players are now migrating to IRO. I just want my buddies don't act like a jerk or get banned because of misunderstanding local rules of conduct. I mean, in general, we say each case is considered on a case-by-case basis, but I think it can definitely be possible for us to have a more clear, this is allowed, this is not allowed kind of post up on the website or on the forums. I understand with people migrating from other versions of the game, it is an important thing so that people know how things are different. Zachary 1451 says, hey Oda, the 12th anniversary event, is it going away tomorrow? And have you fixed the poison bottle redemption option? That's another one of those Capitor things. I think that the anniversary event will be in for at least 1 week more. Eridano says, how long will the 4th of July quest be available? I think that one may be going away this week. Also, all of this madness around the autumn headband made me think, why didn't Caro ask Iro for a new brainstorm after they found out they were unable to implement the original intended effects? Why did Iro let them put in the AS effects without reminding them that the purpose of the community headgears was to strengthen non-mainstream builds? In this case, it was kind of like we had proposed the effects and they had said, well, we're not able to do that, and we can do this. By that time, the project was lagging pretty far behind, and so we said, well, okay, we want to get the hats made, and then we can try tweaking it later and fixing it ourselves. Which, unfortunately, because of the limitations we found for things like boosting, trap damage, on this side. Very difficult. But it's good feedback. I think it's just because the length of time needed to make even a single hat is it just takes forever. So it is easy for things like that to fall through the cracks, unfortunately. Nino Torres says, "Hey Oda, just to know, what's the chance of an Ifrit mask appearing in one of the upcoming monthly boxes? I really want to level my MS Monk." Oops. Curse you, Windows 7, and your auto resizing nonsense. LO46 is any idea when we'll get the UI update, like cast and status timer? That one I'm not too sure about. Yeah, generally it was because the length of time between proposal, just getting them to look and comment on it. Like, it used to be like pulling teeth to get commentary. In the old days, it was basically if there was something they couldn't do, they'd say, "We can't do it, so we're not doing that headgear." It's like, hey, whoa, wait. All we need you guys to do is to make the sprite for the headgear, and then, you know, we'll futz around with the effects later. So as we work to improve our communication with Cairo and sort of shorten the gap between us saying something, them responding, us responding to the response and getting things actually fixed, it'd be nice, you know, if we could get more quick responses, so it's a little more real time for the development of the headgears. Well, let's see. Since that seems to be most of the questions on the forums, what I will do is get the accounts connected to those bot IPs and get them suspended. Oh, that was a pretty big one. Zoe's asking about more giveaway codes for streamers. I'm working on that. I sent the request to Heimdall just today to get a whole bunch of codes that'll work all throughout the summer. I want to give those out to people who live stream the games so that they can give it out to their viewers, because it does really help with promoting RO to have our groups of live streamers. And so that's something we appreciate, and, you know, getting the VIP codes out to them to give out is something that does incentivize it. Also working on the t-shirts for the people who have been consistently live streaming RO. So if you're a consistent RO live streamer, you know, I will eventually work on getting a shirt out for you. Any word on new anniversary quests and renewal? Possible. it's a little bit too short term this week to get anything in that's new. Alligator says, Odo, what's stopping the streamers from just using it for themselves? It can only be used once per account, and we can see who's used those codes. So it's also, the codes are for 5 days. You can only use it once ever per account for this particular type of code. So it's like, great, you've abused for 5 days worth of time, and we're able to see you did that. Like, come on. Yeah, for all these things you guys are mentioning, I do try to push them on a regular basis, but you know, Cavator is a very, very limited amount of time per week. Laurel Reese becoming tradable and vendable is something that I can push for. Zoe says, War Portal should sponsor the streamers, have them meet conditions for VIP of their own. That is the plan, to eventually start getting that stuff out to people who are, you know, CAFR points, War Portal energy, that kind of thing. For people who are consistently streaming the game, kind of give them an incentive to continue on. But yeah, definitely pushing to get stuff to support our people who are, you know, streaming and promoting the game. A lot of people who have come to the servers is because, you know, they've seen people playing and being friendly on a live stream, and so that really does help us. You know, that's why I'm getting the shirts out. You know, not an easy thing to do. Let's see. But yeah, it's something where this year definitely trying to push live streaming. You know, certainly this show, it has a couple of fans, I guess. But, you know, players are usually a lot better at making the game, you know, organizing parties and just having, doing fun stuff with it that it's difficult for us to get time put aside to do. So yeah, if I didn't mention it before, trying to get classic test working, so Heimdallr, Holden, and Captor have been taking a look at that, but it is something that I would like to get going. I think classic PvP tournaments would be a lot of fun, but we just haven't been able to do it because Sakurai does not work for Classic server, unfortunately. So we've kind of had to put the kibosh on that since our previous Classic USRC didn't work out well. Sakurai 1451, appropriately enough, says, any update on 14.3? We're going to be putting in the wave mode dungeon this week, so you can look forward to that. For the dungeons and stuff for 14.3, we're going to have them up on Sakurai as soon as we can, but there's more testing. With them being instance maps, there's usually a lot more things that we got to check and make sure are fixed. The Novice Only WoW Classic had a Christmas was a lot of fun. Hey there, it's CM Buttercup in with an urgent news announcement.
What do you want for boba time?
I'm getting a report that a supply drop is en route from a boba time restaurant, perhaps with some kind of cool drinks. So I'm going to take time out from this 100-something person stream so I can, come over here and, we'll fill up some time. I would like to get a, do you have the menu?
What?
Do I have to go to the website? All right, so Zach Morris style timeout. We're going to go.
Sorry.
I guess I have to type it out.
Are you killing the bots? What's going on?
Ironically enough, I pre-recorded it. It's like Rachel Ray's TV show. Something's already cooked. I would like to get.
These are the decisions you make in life.
I'd like to get a pineapple banana smoothie with boba.
Banana smoothie with boba.
Curdle TV says, forget the t-shirt, I'd stream for some free boba. Actually, that would be kind of fun to do a promotion. We'd have to find one that is kind of like worldwide or countrywide, something like that.
Alright, see you in a bit.
See you later.
Have fun, everyone.
Oops. So let me jump back onto Classic server. Let's see. The classic thing is not going to go. Let's try. So let's try out the in-game reporting tool. So I press Control T and so we'll hover it over a suspect character. So basically what that does is it creates a report. So this directly will link in and send a ticket to the GM team with a description of your account, where you are, and the character name. It allows you to submit a bot report, and we can see who's sending them in, so we can watch for people trying to abuse the system. Very likely it's going to be a limited rollout to players that we'll have beta test it. But basically it means that instead of having to go to our support website, create a ticket, upload a screenshot, the GM team gets the information sent to a special bot report ticket queue that they can just pull from and investigate to make the process more smooth. And so Industry's got a thread on the forums talking about that. And so you're able to tell if there already is a ticket in the system for that character, which is very, very handy. So that's a little preview of what is coming up in the future. Nirvana 21 says, until what time isn't Tiki? We usually go until 4 o'clock, so I'll probably be saying aloha to you folks for today's live stream. Get back to the other stuff I've been working on today. But I'd like to thank you guys all for watching the show, and especially for those of you who came out to Anime Expo. It was very nice meeting you in person, and we have pictures uploaded onto our Facebook from AX. And thank you to folks who are doing live streaming and generally helping to promote RO. Hey, maybe you guys can buy some shirts. It'll make me happier. I just want to more RO stuff out in the world. People kind of physical advertising. You've got RO on a shirt, and so somebody, oh, I remember that game. Where'd you play it? They have a really cool community manager, huh? I mean, Crispy Lays, was wearing a pouring t-shirt. Bought from our Redbubble store, very high quality and inexpensive. Right now, Redbubble has a coupon code, and I think that was for Monday. But if you follow Redbubble on Twitter, they actually put out 20% off coupons almost all the time. So you can get 20% off the Yeah, if you guys have requests or ideas for shirts, we'll gladly steal them from you and use them to make money. So until then, folks, that's actually pretty clever. +4 cotton shirt on the front. I mean, that's easy enough to do. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. We'll have some more information for you for this week's maintenance, what we've got going on in the future, pretty darn soon. So you can look forward to that. And until then, this is Ciamoda signing off. And to all of you out there, in the land of Tiki Tuesday, I'd like to say aloha and have a wonderful rest of the day. No.